Mandela by Mackenzie. Nelson Mandela. Oh, I've heard that name before. But where? Well, I will control your confusion by giving you some facts about Nelson Mandela. He was the president of South Africa. Did you also know his dad was a chef? Want to know more? Sit back, relax, and turn your cell phones on. What challenges did Nelson Mandela face? January 1990. Nelson Mandela was in prison, serving his 27th year for helping lead the African National Congress, ANC for short, in 1952. The ANC was a group of people who didn't like the laws and protested because of them. Nelson Mandela was only one of thousands of people who peacefully broke the laws. Many more ANC leaders were arrested along with Nelson Mandela for protesting against these laws. In 1960, police shot more than 200 African protesters. The government banned the ANC. Nelson Mandela was caught and put in prison in 1962 and was sentenced for 5 years. Nelson Mandela was later transferred to a maximum security prison. In 1948, South Africa made a law to keep different races apart. This law was called apartheid. In 1960, the law still had not changed, and Nelson Mandela wanted to do something about it. Nelson Mandela was arrested for his protesting against the laws. He was given the opportunity of freedom if he stopped protesting. He gave up freedom and kept protesting. How were his problems overcome? Nelson Mandela was the leader in the battle against apartheid. Nelson Mandela was arrested for being the leader of the ANC. President F.W. de Klerk freed Nelson Mandela from prison February 11, 1990. Nelson Mandela wanted people to fight against the unfair laws. He tried many ways to stop the unfair laws. After joining the ANC in 1942, he highly disliked the white minority government. Nelson Mandela was put in prison for fighting the laws and was in prison from 1962 to 1990. 28 years in prison for standing up for what he believes in. Did Nelson Mandela achieve a significant goal? After being in prison, Nelson Mandela was released, not knowing only months later he would become the president of South Africa. He wanted people to fight against the unfair laws. First, he tried to use peaceful ways to change the laws. He traveled all through South Africa and gave speeches about why people should want to change the laws. Nelson Mandela was given the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993 for fighting for equality in South Africa. Nelson Mandela helped many people surpass unequal rights and faced many challenges along the way. But even after all the time spent in prison, thinking about ways he could help the world even more, Nelson Mandela had succeeded at loyalty, courage, and conviction. He used those advantages to overcome being treated unequally because of the color of his skin. I chose Nelson Mandela because I believe people in the United States look more into our history and talk about what we have done than, let's say, what Australia has done to our world. I think it makes us look selfish and cocky, and I don't want to be that guy. What my point is that I did Nelson Mandela because he reminded me a lot about Martin Luther King Jr. and what he did. To me, Dr. King was always interesting to read about, and when I found out about Nelson Mandela, my face was in the books. I learned a lot of things about him and was excited to learn he later became the president of South Africa. It was long, it was hard, it was time-consuming, but in the end, it was fun to present my paper to you all. Thank you.